Hello, Mari here.
I'm Paulo. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Today is June 16th, 2025, and we're digging into the class notes from a really special session. It happened back on June 11th.
That's right, with our English Conversations group, T247. They're working at the A2 level on the CEFRL scale.
Exactly. And this class was, well, laser focused on something super relevant for many of you listening. English for business meetings, for the investment world.
Especially tailored for startup professionals. We thought we'd approach these notes, with that sharp, analytical style, almost like a market briefing.
Definitely, because at AcademiaBSB, our online school, it's all about effective communication. And for you folks in startups, that means mastering the language to, well, negotiate, pitch, grow.
Right. These class notes are basically a roadmap for that, showing the tools they're building.
So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack these notes. We'll look at the essential vocabulary they picked up.
We'll touch on pronunciation, making sure you sound clear and confident.
Explore how to use language naturally. Decode some crucial idioms.
Nail down a specific grammar point. Look at reading and collaborative writing.
And also talk about why listening and speaking practice are so fundamental. It's really a full toolkit from just one session.
Yeah, and we'll analyze how each piece fits into becoming a better communicator in the business world.
The notes themselves are structured, to give a really solid review, reinforces what happened live.
So let's jump right in.
Okay, first up, vocabulary. The building blocks, right? In business, the right words are your first negotiation tool.
This class on the 11th introduced quite a few terms, some general, some more specific to the business scenarios they were exploring.
Exactly. So the list included things like workaholic, someone who works maybe a bit too much.
We all know a few of those, probably.
Maybe. Then to give up, meaning to quit or stop trying. Share, which can mean, to distribute something, or it can be a noun, your stake in a company.
Very important distinction there. Also, to remain, like to stay. To arrange, meaning organize or plan.
Yeah.
To fix, like repair.
And then terms that really light up for business. Share as an equity, to remain competitive.
And goldmine, metaphorically, a fantastic opportunity. Buzz, like excitement or activity. A low, continuous sound.
And stake, there it is again. Crucial investment jargon. Your piece of the pie. Location, well, that's straightforward.
And some words came directly from the text they were working on in class. Things like tasty food, dim, meaning low light.
Hiss, gurgle sounds, maybe from a coffee machine. Proud, apron, etch, like carving.
Improvisation, drawn, meaning attracted to. Counter, stool, shame, cracked, to lean forward. A lot of scene-setting words.
Yes, but mixed in with more business-relevant terms like payroll, super important. To handle, meaning manage or deal with something.
And probably the key verb for any startup, to thrive, to grow strong, be successful.
It's interesting, isn't it? You see words like apron next to payroll. It shows how language learning often happens in context. Maybe they were discussing a cafe startup.
Could be. The key is for you, listening, to pull out the terms most relevant to your world, like stake, payroll, handle, thrive. Those are gold.
And learning new words is only half the battle. Reviewing is just as critical. The notes had vocabulary exercises from the previous class.
Right. Quick run through those answers. For the sentence completion, 1 was tired.
2, excuse.
3, impolite.
4, bad.
And 5, waiter. Pretty straightforward review.
Then matching words to meanings. Shy was C, nervous with others.
Tired, B, no energy.
Sociable, A, confident with people.
Waiter, D, serves food.
And impolite, E, acts disrespectfully. Good recall exercise.
Choosing the correct word. 1 was fed up.
2, excuse.
Sociable.
And the classic, find the mistake. The sentence was, he gives excuse for missing the class. What's wrong there?
2 things jump out. First, past tense of give is gave. Second, excuse starts with a vowel sound, so it needs an, not a.
So the correction is, he gave an excuse for missing the class. See? Even at A2, these little details matter for professional communication. Precision counts.
Absolutely. Okay, moving from words to sounds. Pronunciation.
Yes. In the fast-paced startup world, you have to be understood clearly. Good pronunciation can make or break a pitch.
No doubt. The notes highlighted words that often cause trouble. From the past class, they focused on pairs or tricky singles.
Like ladder versus later versus leather. Minimal pairs that really test your vowel sounds.
And where versus were. A classic. Also should and could. Important modal verbs.
Plus words like something, nephew, crew. Speciality.
Handle, trouble, neither. Pastries, supportive, growth, suitcase. Each has its own little challenge, maybe a silent letter, a tricky vowel, or a consonant cluster.
Practicing these specifically really helps refine your speech.
Okay, now for the current class pronunciation list. Let's go through them. I'll say the word, use it in a simple sentence, and say the word again. Listen closely. Largest. It was the largest funding round this quarter.
Largest. Throughout. She worked throughout the night on the proposal. Throughout.
Customer. Understanding the customer's key. Customer.
Control. We need better control over our cash flow.
Demand. Market demand is increasing rapidly. Demand.
Startup. This startup has huge potential.
They hired a strategy consultant.
That's insane.
We've been profitable since last year. Since.
0. Our market share went from 0 to 10%. 0.
Prior. Did you read the memo prior to the meeting?
I was exhausted. The team was exhausted after the product launch. Exhausted.
Now for some pairs. Arrival versus arrive. His arrival was expected. He will arrive soon. Arrival, noun. X. Arrive, verb.
Ready versus read, past tense. Are you ready? Yes, I read the email. Ready, X, read. Similar sounds, different vowels.
Quite versus quiet. It's quite warm today. Please be quiet.
Quite X, quiet. Very different meanings.
And cough versus coffee. He has a bad cough. I need a cough. Cough, X, coffee. Easy to mix up if you're not careful.
Getting these distinctions right, like arrival versus arrive or quite versus quiet, prevents some potentially big misunderstandings. It's about clarity and precision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the words, we have the sounds. Now let's look at how they string together naturally. Language usage.
This is about using those phrases that make you sound less like you're translating in your head, more like a native speaker. Huge for building rapport in business.
Definitely. The notes had some really useful ones. Let's unpack them, maybe act them out quickly.
Sounds good. First, he looks sharp. What does that mean?
It means he looks very well dressed, professional, smart, ready for business.
Like you see someone before a big pitch.
Exactly. Enactment. Did you see the CEO?
Yeah, heading into the investor meeting. He looks sharp today.
Okay, next. I did my homework.
Not just schoolwork, right?
Yeah.
This means you've done your research, your preparation.
Essential before any negotiation or important meeting. Enactment. You ready for the competitor analysis presentation?
Absolutely. Don't worry. I did my homework, got all the latest data.
Good one. How about with all the respect?
The polite way to disagree or introduce a potentially critical point softens the blow.
Very useful. Enactment. I think we need to scrap the entire project and start over.
With all the respect, I think we should perhaps review the latest user feedback before we make such a big decision.
Nicely handled.
Yeah.
Then, that's one way to describe it.
This is a bit understated, often used when you think the description is, well, maybe too polite or doesn't capture the whole picture. Often used, ironically.
Right. Enactment. So how was the board meeting? I heard it got lively?
Lively? That's one way to describe it. Felt more like a battleground to me.
Huh? Okay, what should I do now?
Pretty straightforward, asking for guidance or the next step, especially when maybe things haven't gone to plan.
Yeah, when you need direction. Enactment. Oh no, the main server just crashed right before the launch.
Seriously? Okay. What should I do now? Who do I call?
Panic mode. Next. To find himself in trouble.
Means getting into difficulties could be financial, legal, anything problematic.
A common risk in the startup world. Enactment. He invested heavily based on projections that didn't pan out.
Yeah, I heard. He might find himself in a bit of financial trouble soon.
I admire your spirit.
This is for acknowledging someone's courage or determination, even if you think their idea is a bit crazy or risky.
Recognizing that entrepreneurial drive. Enactment. I'm quitting my stable job to launch an artisanal toothpick company.
Oh, okay. Well, I admire your spirit. That takes guts.
Indeed. To sink the ship.
Metaphorically, causing something to fail. Usually a project, venture, or company.
The ultimate fear for a founder.
Yeah.
Enactment. If we don't close this funding round by next month.
I know, we won't make payroll. A couple more setbacks could sink the ship.
And the last one. To leave the harbor.
Starting something big, like launching a company or a major project. The beginning of the journey.
The moment it becomes real.
Enactment.
We finally finished the beta testing and incorporated the feedback.
Fantastic. So the ship is finally ready to leave the harbor. Time to launch.
Mastering these kinds of phrases really does elevate your conversational fluency.
Totally. And speaking of fluency boosters, let's talk idiomatic expressions.
The fun stuff. Idioms add color and nuance. Understanding them is key in business chat. And using them, That shows real sophistication.
They're phrases where the meaning isn't literal, right? The notes had some powerful ones for the business context.
Absolutely. First one, don't let pride sink this ship before it's even left the harbor. Quite a mouthful.
Yes. It
Yeah.
basically means don't let ego or overconfidence ruin a project or venture right at the very beginning.
Exactly. The source explained it as a warning against arrogance in the early stages. Think of a CEO reminding the team to stay humble and open-minded. The ship metaphor is perfect for a new business journey.
Very apt for startups. Next, to break even.
This is pure finance talk. It means your revenue exactly covers your costs. No profit, but crucially, no loss either.
Right. The example was a cafe finally hitting that point. It's a huge milestone, showing the business model is sustainable even if it's not making money yet.
A sign you're on the right track. Then to corner the market.
This means gaining dominant control over a specific industry or product area, often pushing out competitors.
Like a tech giant achieving a near monopoly. It's the dream for some ambitious founders, but often involves aggressive tactics.
Okay, in the red.
The opposite of breaking even. It means you're losing money, your expenses are higher than your income, operating at a loss.
The notes mentioned a startup expanding too quickly and ending up owing money. Being in the red is the danger zone. Stay there too long, and well.
Game over, usually. And the last one, to play hardball.
Means being tough, aggressive, and maybe uncompromising in negotiations, not backing down easily.
Right. The example was a supplier who wouldn't budge on price. You need to recognize when someone is playing hardball with you in a deal.
And sometimes, as a founder, you might need to play hardball yourself to protect your company's interests.
Knowing these idioms doesn't just boost your vocabulary. It gives you insight into the culture and mindset of the English-speaking business world.
Definitely powerful tools. Okay, let's take a very quick break here. We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into the T247 class notes. Stay with us. Commercial break placeholder. And we're back on the deep dive, unpacking the June 11th class notes for the T247 group.
Before the break, we covered vocabulary, pronunciation, language usage, and some really potent business idioms.
Now let's shift gears to the structural backbone of the language, grammar.
Grammar ensures your message is clear, precise, unambiguous, absolutely vital when you're dealing with contracts, investment details, or complex instructions.
The specific focus in this session was on distributive adjectives, both either and neither.
Yes. Simple words, but very powerful for talking specifically about groups of two. Let's break them down. Both.
Both means the two things together. It's inclusive. The examples were, I like both books, or both of you, listen.
Simple enough? Then either.
Either presents a choice between two options. One or the other, but not both. Like, you can have either coffee or tea, pick one, or we can meet on either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay, so either is about choice, and neither.
Neither is the negative one. It means not the first one and not the second one, 0 out of 2. I liked neither movie, meaning I didn't like the first one and I didn't like the second one.
Or neither candidate was qualified? None of the two.
And the notes also highlighted the correlative conjunction pairs, both and, either or, neither nor or, these link ideas together.
Right. Both the CEO and the CTO attended. Includes 2 people. We can launch either this month or next month. Offers 2 time options.
Neither the first proposal nor the second one met our budget. Excludes both options.
So why is mastering these so important for startup folks?
Precision. Think about it. You're discussing 2 product features, 2 potential investors, 2 market strategies, 2 candidates. Using both, either or neither correctly lets you be absolutely clear.
No room for confusion about whether you mean one, the other, both, or none. That kind of clarity avoids costly mistakes in agreements, pitches, team instructions, everywhere.
Exactly. It's fundamental for clear professional communication, especially when dealing with pairs of options or items.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on to reading.
Reading is huge for expanding vocabulary, getting exposed to different writing styles, and just absorbing information essential for staying informed in the business world.
The class notes included a text titled, A Quiet Arrival with a Loud Demand. The cough, the coffee, and the consultant. Sounds intriguing. Part of their ongoing story, maybe.
Seems like it. Let's read it out loud to get a feel for the style. Want to take it?
Sure. Reads the text. A quiet arrival with a loud demand. Clearly, and with some narrative flair, paying attention to pronunciation.
Thanks. That has a nice narrative feel, quite descriptive. The exercise linked to this was about creating a new text, right?
Yeah, the idea is to write a short new paragraph, maybe 3 to 5 sentences, in a similar analytical or descriptive style, but using different verbs and structures, and ideally weaving in some of the vocabulary from the lesson.
Okay, maybe focusing on a business challenge or opportunity. We could try using handle, potential, thrive, and stake from the vocab list.
Good idea. How about something like a founder reflecting?
Okay, let me try. The startup needed to handle the sudden downturn, a real test. Yet the team still saw huge potential in their core tech. Securing new investment was tough. It meant giving up a larger stake than planned, but it was the only path for the company to truly thrive long-term.
Nice. That uses the vocabulary, keeps an analytical tone, and tells a mini-story relevant to the startup context. Exercises like this modeling and creating really solidify learning.
And that leads perfectly into the writing section itself.
Right. The notes describe a collaborative writing exercise. The goal was for the students, Tiago, Mario, and Douglas, working together to build a story, adding bits to a shared Google Doc.
A project by 8 hands, as the notes charmingly put it, very collaborative.
The scene they were working on, scene 3, was called New Business Deals. It's set in that airport cafe we just heard about in the reading text.
Mario, the owner, presumably, is closing up. Tiago, the consultant, arrives. They talk about the chaos, the potential.
And it leads to Tiago making an offer, wanting a stake in Mario's business, setting the stage for a negotiation.
And the student's task was to continue the story, adding dialogue and description, using the language tools from the vocabulary, the phrases, the grammar.
This kind of collaborative writing is fantastic practice.
Yeah.
It mirrors real-world teamwork on documents and proposals, and specifically for A2 learners moving towards B1, it pushes them to build more complex sentences and structure a coherent narrative. Mastering this is key for that next level.
Okay, the notes indicate we should skip the listening section for this deep dive.
Roger that. Moving straight to watching.
Watching authentic English content, movies, news, series, even real-life interactions if possible, is absolutely vital, wouldn't you say?
Oh, completely. It does so much. Improves your listening comprehension, obviously,
But
also helps you absorb the natural rhythm, intonation, and speed of spoken English.
And you pick up cultural context, how people interact, which is invaluable for international business.
The notes mention a watching activity. The specific instructions aren't in our source here, but the goal is clear. Engage with visual English media.
So the students were likely asked to watch something specific, maybe a news report, a scene from a show, a TED Talk.
Probably. And the task wouldn't just be passive viewing, likely involved reporting back, discussing themes, or identifying specific language points they'd learned, connecting the classroom to the real world.
Makes sense. And finally, the last section, speaking training.
The ultimate goal for many learners, speaking fluently and confidently, especially critical for pitching ideas, negotiating, leading teams.
The notes highlight a really targeted approach here, using texts specifically designed to address each student's individual pronunciation difficulties.
Yeah, that's smart. Personalized practice. The activity is clear. Read the assigned text aloud.
Record your voice doing it, trying to follow the teacher's example from class.
And then send that recording via WhatsApp to the teacher for specific individual feedback.
That feedback loop is crucial. It's not just practicing, it's practicing with guidance for targeted improvement. Really helps polish your delivery.
Okay, so that covers all the sections from the class notes. Wrapping things up, what are the key takeaways from this session for the T247 group?
Well, looking at the focus, particularly on the collaborative writing exercise, mastering that skill is so important for moving from A2 towards B1. Building coherent arguments, structuring narratives, that's essential for more complex communication.
Agreed. And the emphasis on idiomatic expressions. That's a direct path to sounding more natural and fluent. Using idioms correctly signals a deeper understanding of the language and its culture, which is impressive in a business setting.
And the grammar point, both, either, neither. It might seem basic, but that precision in referring to pairs translates directly to clear communication in work and daily life. Avoiding ambiguity saves time and prevents errors.
Definitely. It seems like a very productive session, equipping them with practical tools.
Yeah.
And the story they're writing sounds like it's getting interesting.
It does. The notes give us a peek at the UP coming linguistic scope. The next class will feature Scene 5 Business Proposal. The negotiation heats up.
Ooh. Okay. There are some dialogue snippets here. Tiago says, "You've got heart, Mario, and that smell. It's nostalgia in a cup, but you need capital. I'll invest, but I want 45%.
Wow, 45%. That's a big ask. And Mario's response, I'd rather sell my old pilot wings than give up that much. This place is mine. It's my second takeoff, not a corporate landing pad.
Oof, sparks flying. So the big question is,
Will Mario cave? Will Tiago compromise? How will this business proposal unfold? You'll have to join us for the next deep dive to find out.
a great cliffhanger. Building those communication skills step by step.
Exactly. Because, remember, as we always say at Academia BSB, it's not only about the language, it's all about communication.